What's going on, everybody? Just give me y'all a few minutes to come on in here. We finna get ready to get this show on the road. Got a whole lot to talk about. We're gonna have a lot of fun as draft season is finally here. It is finally here, and we are ready to rock and roll. Let's get ready to draft or rumble. Give y'all a few more minutes to get up in here. I want to aim for at least 30 to 50 viewers in here, and I need about 30 to 40 likes. If y'all hook me up with that, I got a special surprise in store for you that's draft centric. That y'all might want to pay attention to. It's something I put together and put a little thought into it as far as something that I can unveil if y'all help me out. So spread the word. Let everybody know. There's that like button, also the share button. Make sure y'all share this show out. Let everybody know Titans and Truth is live. And y'all gonna have me probably for the next couple of days because we got some big things that are going to be coming up. So get on ready for that. And we about to get ready to get started.
Let's get tightened up, tightened up. I've been scoping from the sideline, waiting for the right time to send the freshest team to scrimmage. So I'm busting y'all. Welcome to Twas. We got this here. Don't worry about it. We got this here. It's Major City to Soul. Out here loud and clear. Don't worry about it. See, we got this here. It's a brand new dance and it's about to go live. Tighten up, Nashville, rep the 615. Push it, tighten 2 steps, step to the right. Then you tighten 2 step to the left. Blue jerseys everywhere. Game pace, yeah, we got it all. Sticking out our chest, beating on it like it's King Kong. It's about to get her up. Here come the train, y'all. Tennessee, tighten up. Let's get tightened up. Tighten up. Let's get tightened up. Sticking out my chest, beating on it like it's King Kong. Sticking out my chest, beating on it like it's King Kong. Tighten 2 steps to the right. Then you tighten 2 steps to the left. Sticking out my chest, beating on it like it's King Kong. Sticking out my chest, beating on it like it's King Kong. Third down, come around, we about to shut down.
Good evening, Titan Nation. How's everybody doing? Welcome into a brand new edition of Titans and Truth. I'm your man, Chris, aka Blue Enforcer, and we are going to have a lot of fun this evening. We got a lot to talk about as we are in Draft Eve. It is Draft Eve here on Titans and Truth as tomorrow night, the 2020 NFL virtual draft will take place. Welcome in on YouTube. And if you're not on YouTube, I don't know where you've been. You need to get on it and come on and join me for this great show. Again, we want to get up to 30 viewers. We want to get up to 25 likes. And I may have a surprise in store if we could get that far. And I want everybody to know, come on out and show some love. And we're going to have a little bit of fun. I know some people are already in here right now, but we're rocking here live on Titans and Truth here on YouTube. And I will be with y'all for the next couple of days. Got a show tonight. We're going to do a draft show tomorrow night. And I will be a guest on Titan Upload on Friday night. So that is going to be some big time draft talk that we're going to be talking about. We'll talk more about that later. In the show, I see DO9 Motivation is in here. AZ Mick, what's up? Ashley, how you doing? Ryan Tanagoat as usual. Yep, there has been some clowny news. We're gonna get to that. Real Titans for life. I see y'all here too. Big Joe, what's up with you? What's up with you? Billy Scott. How's everybody going? Y'all make sure y'all keep sharing the show. Y'all doing a good job with that. And let everybody know that we are here. And and we're about to get started. We got some. We're going to start off with a little bit of some sad news that we heard about just recently. First of all, prayers up to the George family, to Eddie George and his family, as right now his dad is right now dealing with uh, is positive for COVID-19. He's dealing with the coronavirus right now. Uh, let's everybody send out your prayers to Eddie George and to his family, and for a very quick recovery for Big Papa George and everything, because this is a tough time for all of us right now, and you know we got to continue to keep coming together, and that's why I enjoy doing my show, and I know some other shows are going on and everything. So it's it's important that we come together. We gotta have some positive feelings and things like that. But prayers up to the George family, to Eddie George and his dad, that he does recover from this COVID-19. So I definitely wanted to start off with that, and definitely want to go into some more. Um, go into some more news that has happened around the league. Of course, everybody and their mama and grandmama have been talking about the Bucks trade that sends Rob Gronkowski, the retired Rob Gronkowski, to Tampa Bay to join up with his old buddy Golden Boy in Tampa Bay with the Buccaneers. And so the Buccaneers trade away a fourth round pick for Gronk and a seventh round pick. I know this has been pretty much going all day, yesterday and today, all over ESPN and NFL Network, which I'm like, okay, y'all, the trade happened. That's cool. Y'all talked about it for a few minutes. Get over it, move on to something else. But we all know, had this went the other way and Golden Boy was here and Gronk gets traded here, we'd be the talk of the town, and we probably wouldn't be stopped talking about it. So, yeah, you kind of got to take the good in with the bad on that one. Hey, it happens. Nice trade. Best friends get to hang together. We'll see what that offense looks like. I mean, you got a 31-year-old tight end who does have injury history and hasn't played football in a year, with a 43-year-old quarterback. We're going to definitely find out. It is going to be a very interesting season, definitely. And I thank everybody for who's put some likes up and everything and shared it out. I appreciate that. DO9, we're going to definitely talk about that particular subject in just a bit, going into wide receivers. We're definitely going to like that. We're definitely going to talk about that. Billy Scott saying, man, I have a great feeling that this is going to be a great year. Let's hope for another Super Bowl run. I'm hoping for that too. Dennis Williams, what's up? Welcome in. Welcome in. But yeah, that was probably the big story of the day NFL wise. However, some news that we have. Well, first, some small news. Ty Smith, one of our cornerbacks, has re-signed for a 1-year deal. It's probably not even anything major, doesn't have any effect. He's just a depth piece. That doesn't change anything as far as us needing a corner in this draft. But the big news that is happening is some word has come out that some movement could be made for one Jadeveon Clowney after the draft. With that, J-Rob basically did not close the door. They might be at a standstill as far as a contract, but no door is closed. And so if anybody knows J-Rob, if J-Rob wanted to close the door on this deal, he would have said it already. He would have said it, would have been like, you know what? That's something that we're not going into, or somebody would have came out and said, you know what, the Titans are no longer interested in Jadeveon Clowney or anything like that. That is something that would have come out. But that's not the case. Right now, it's out there. It's out there. So is out there, and I mean, we're still in the hunt, and doesn't look like anything is going to happen until after the draft. Now, J-Rob did say that this draft could very well impact what happens with that Clowney pursuit. And if you want a little bit more, news about that, I have I have a clip with 710 ESPN 710 in Seattle, courtesy of the Danny and Gallant show, which ESPN insider Diana Rossini was on that show. And this is, and I'm going to try to make sure I get this audio. This is what she had to say in regards to this. This is from at Diana ESPN. This is courtesy of at 710 ESPN Seattle on Twitter. This is what she had to say on that.
Seahawks and the Tennessee Titans, from what I could gather, there's always a chance that there's another team in there, but from what I could sense, it was just those two. And the closer we've been getting to the draft, the more I'm feeling like Seattle's just not into it as much. GM John Robinson down in Nashville, he spoke about it yesterday actually, and just said we're going to wait for this draft to go through, see how it shakes out, see what we can get, and maybe we'll pick them up. So the Tennessee Titans are still interested, but I think if you were to ask me to predict where he winds up, it's going to probably be Tennessee. But it seems that.
And that is ESPN reporter insider Diana Rossini. That was when she was on the Danny and Gallant show on 710 ESPN in Seattle, and you heard it right there. I mean, she's. I have to admit. Y'all know how I am when it comes to sources and things like that. But she's been pretty spot on when it comes to certain things with the Tennessee Titans. She was spot on, when it came to Ryan Tannehill and the Derrick Henry situation. And now she's saying she believes pretty much that Jadeveon Clowney could very well be coming to the Tennessee Titans. But again, I believe this does have to do with the draft. The draft is going to tell us the story. The draft is going to tell us where the Titans go as far as this particular situation. And I feel like this. If the Tennessee Titans do not take an edge rusher within the first 3 rounds, and within the first 3 rounds, we're talking impact pass rusher. If we do not take a pass rusher, and I'm not talking interior defensive line, I'm talking edge. If they do not take one within the first 3 rounds of this draft, that tells me right now the Tennessee Titans are getting Jadeveon Clowney. That is just my opinion. That is just my thought, my opinion. If the Tennessee Titans don't draft like a Yatir Gross-Matos, or if Kayvon Chaisson falls to them, or if they don't get a Bradley and I or Josh Uche or something like that, something just tells me Jadeveon Clowney is going to be donning two-tone blue. That's just my opinion. That's just my thought. That's what I think is going to happen, and I'm with everything me. J-Rob wants that compensatory pick. And remember, after Monday, any other deals that happen will not involve the compensatory pick. Because if we sign Clowney beforehand, we lose that compensatory pick for Jack Conklin, which would be a 3rd rounder. So they wait till Monday, Clowney signs, and everything. Then pretty much we keep that 3rd compensatory pick and we get Clowney at the same time. So that is definitely something to monitor, definitely something to watch out for. Of course, Seattle, I saw something on Instagram at Titans Country where, some people up in Seattle was reporting, talking about, well, Seattle is still in it. But according to Diana, she's saying pretty much, Seattle's moved on, and everything. And it looks like it's down to us and maybe the Jets. As far as that, we'll see what the Jets do in the draft. They have a pretty high pick as well. So we're definitely going to find that out. I'm going to read up a couple of comments. Of course, Ash says prayers up to 27 in the family. Absolutely. Ryan Teddergoat says, I didn't know about this. I remember his dad when he was on the Eddie George Football Life episode. Yep. Joseph says that I look awesome with the sleeveless shirt on Incredible Hulk. Thank you for that, Joe. Thank you for that. Joseph said, Joe says depth is valuable, which it is. Ryan, I did see some information about the dropped price tag. Looked like they dropped to 17, maybe even dropped to 15 and everything. So yeah, I mean, this could definitely happen. And I have to admit, I gotta give Diana Rossini some credit. She is very, very good when it came to Titan news, and right now she seems to be pretty good with it. Joe Cardoso says, let's hope he doesn't break the bank. Probably not, because his prices come down. His prices come down, and he wants a shorter term deal so that he can go back into free agency maybe in another year or another 2 years. So I don't think it'll break the bank. And I think it just depends on how the Titans structure the contract. If they structure it right, I think it's going to pay major dividends for both sides. Let's see. Joe says we have 7 options in tomorrow's draft at pick 29. I did see that article. That could be definitely a option. And I got some more stuff on that. Chris says they saying Gladney could be a second round pick. We'll definitely find out. Billy says if we get Clowney, our defense will be much better than last year. I agree. I think Clowney definitely makes this defense a heck of a lot better than what we would have been right now. On Monday, if you get Clowney, even if we get some good players in the draft, by that Monday or Tuesday, we will be better 48 hours out of the draft. So that's something that I think could definitely happen. I like it. I think Clowney could be the guy. We'll definitely see after the draft. Now, let's see. Will 231 says, I think we could get a corner at the same skill level in the second round as the 29th pick. Go D-line in the first. Now, gonna get into my draft preview in just a minute. Now, there's a lot of ways we could go with this. I mean, you could go D-line in the first round with a guy like AJ Espinosa, who could probably kick more inside, or maybe a Yetur Gross-Matos who could kick inside a little bit. A Ross Blacklock or Neville Gallimore or Justin Maabuke. Now, Ross Blacklock may go in the first round, but I think you could get him in the second round. You can get Blacklock, Gallimore, or Justin Maabuke in the second round. The corners, I think, are going to go pretty quick. At the very latest, high second round right there. So I think cornerback is still the biggest need. Then I think you could also get an offensive lineman in the second or third round. Because remember, in every draft, there's always 1 or 2 players, maybe even more, that you just did not even see going in the first round, just happens to skyrocket into the first round. For example, watch out for this name. UConn offensive lineman Matt Peart, P-E-A-R-T. Watch out for that name. And also a Jeremy Chin, safety out of Southern Illinois. Watch out for those 2 names. Those 2 names could be a surprise first-round pick. Those are guys that you didn't even see coming in the first round, and they could be picked in the first round. So definitely be careful for those with that. So while we're talking draft, make sure y'all get your questions. You can pick my brain questions. We're going to be talking about this during the draft preview. Let's see. Chris Frazier says Tanneville is here, which I see that. Let's see. Ryan Tango said, did you see the Jake Fromm rumor later in the draft? Yes, I did see that on Instagram that some reporter put out saying, watch out for the Saints and the Titans later in the draft, maybe looking at Jake Fromm. And I'm going to talk about quarterback. If y'all remember a good while back, maybe during the season, I can't remember exactly the episode, I said that for this Titans particular system, Jake Fromm would not actually be a bad option. Yes, he's definitely a game manager, but he doesn't have the arm talent or anything like that, but he has a very good IQ. He is a very smart football player. And as long as there's good weapons around him, the weapons around him can make him look good. Tannehill can make others look good. But Jake Fromm could look good with good weapons and a good offensive line. So I wouldn't necessarily rule that out. Now, honestly, with Jake Fromm, I would not go no earlier than the 3rd round. Maybe if we can get a 4th rounder, I could see that. But Jake Fromm has went really down on boards. I know Jacob Eason and Jalen Hurts are ahead of him. And then, of course, you're hearing news about guys like Steven Montez from Colorado and James Morgan from Florida International are coming up. And speaking of which, while we're talking about it, we might as well go into my draft preview, as y'all know, for the last few weeks, we've been going over positions. We went over corners. We went over offensive linemen. We also went over defensive linemen and edge rushers. Today, I'm going to pile in 3 different positions. We're going to do quarterbacks. We're going to do running backs. We're going to do wide receivers. Okay? So that's what we're going to get into. And while y'all at it, get me your pick your brain questions while we're on. And I will definitely answer those as quick and as possible on that. So, yeah, I mean, there are some quarterbacks that could there are definitely some quarterbacks that could be available to us in the later rounds. They're definitely I mean, it would be very smart of the Tennessee Titans to go ahead and draft a quarterback that you can groom. I see we're at 20 views. I like that. 10 likes. We need a few more, but I like that. I'm glad everybody's in here. Keep everybody rolling. But let me read some of your comments as we get into talking about quarterbacks first in this draft. Let's see. Everything Me says, after cornerback, what is our next highest need, assuming we get Clowney? Yeah, if we're going for Clowney, I think edge rusher completely goes down the board, as in like one of our last needs. Cornerback to me is my number 1 need, and it's really a toss-up between 3 positions: interior defensive line, offensive lineman, tackle, and a wide receiver. And a lot of people have not really been talking about wide receiver. And I'm really thinking about putting wide receiver at number 2, really 2B, with interior defensive line as 2A. We need a burner. We need a speed demon on the outside. And we're going to talk about receivers in just a little bit with that. Joe Cardoso says, if they do get a pass rusher, will they look for a guy to play multiple spots who fit that? Well, Vrabel definitely wants versatility, front multiplicity. That's something that J-Rob loves. That's why I think they're going after Clowney, because Vrabel knows how to use him in different ways. Can line them up all over the line and things like that. So, that's something that we have to keep an eye on. Billy Scott said the main thing we need to fix is our offensive line. We have to keep Ryan Tannehill healthy. I think we're pretty good at offensive line. I mean, you got Lawan Saffold on the left side, a pretty solid left side. You got Ben Jones. I know we may need to look at an interior offensive lineman to possibly replace him in the future, because he's going into the last year of his deal. Maybe a Tyler Bedias from Wisconsin could be a possibility. Nate Davis, who is improving. Maybe you look at a guy that can play center or guard that could go behind one of those two guys. And then you got Dennis Kelly. And I commented on this on Titan Upload show. I just made a comment saying, look, The Undertaker may choke slam some defensive linemen the way that he getting disrespected. And I agree with that. I think Dennis Kelly is getting disrespected. I mean, basically, you know, the national media is basically saying, you got to draft the right tackle. You got to draft the right tackle. Dennis Kelly's probably sitting back saying, I am this team's right tackle. They don't need to draft a little right tackle. They got me. So, you know, that's something that, you know, you definitely got to pay attention to. This could be a definite motivation for him. So that's something that that could definitely happen. Oh, and before we go into more, just want to let y'all know, thanks to my guy Jason Trinity Glover, he's putting together a watch party, a 2020 quarantine NFL draft watch party. Basically, that's what he's trying to do. And, you know, he wants to link up with me. So I told him, I said, you know, I'm probably going to be doing a live draft show anyway. Let's make that a watch party. Put it on Facebook. You could definitely do that. So, you know, that's something that you can have. So I'm going to share this out on the TNT page right now. I'm actually doing that as we speak. And so that way y'all will get to see that on the TNT Enforcers page. And so that way y'all are able to share it and things like that. And just shared it out on the Titans and Truth, the TNT Enforcers page. So we're going to definitely talk about that. Cardoso says, I thought J-Rob likes Love. From word is, he met with Love at the Senior Bowl. But we don't need to draft a quarterback that high. Now, I could see that as garnering interest for that 29th pick. If Jordan Love is sitting there at 29, some team might be desperate to move up to get him. And so that might fetch a pretty price. For that pick. J-Rob has already said he wants to move back. He's open for business. You know, he's probably talking to teams right now trying to see about getting a deal done. So you got to definitely be careful of that. Titans Mafia says, rather have Jalen Hurts than Jake Fromm. I like Hurts too. Definitely going to draft Will 23 231 says, definitely going to draft the backup running back later on. Who do you like? Again, we're going to talk about that in just a minute. Chris Furry said, Love going to be gone by the Titans pick, which I think is definitely going to happen. Ryan Tanago says, how confident are you the Titans landing Clowney? I'm going to say 65%. I am getting pretty confident that I think we could get him. Yeah, some other teams could get into the race, but the Titans have been, you've seen other teams come in and out. Seattle has come in and out of the race. The Jets have come in and out of the race. Cleveland has come in and out of the race. The Tennessee Titans are the one team that has been constant and the word is they are the one team that's been talking to Jadeveon Clowney the most. So that kind of puts us ahead of some other teams. So that's what I like with that. Osman Gur says defensive line. I can see that. Chris Frazier thinks wide receiver is the next best need. Davis ain't cutting it. And you know what? If you see a receiver going high, you could very well see Corey Davis getting traded during this draft. That could definitely happen. Chris Frazier says Kelly ain't starting material. I'm gonna disagree with that. Dennis Kelly in spot time has done pretty well for this team as a swing tackle. Is he a long-term solution? No, he is not. That's why I think they're going to draft an offensive lineman maybe within the first 3 rounds. I hope they don't do it in round 1, which, I mean, I will understand if they do, but I would not be excited. That's just not a sexy pick. Your first round pick should be pretty sexy, or you make a big deal out of it and everything. So let's go ahead and get into the draft preview as we get ready to start on our last draft preview. And let's get started with the quarterbacks. And in all honesty, again, the way that I do my draft previews is I'm looking at players that could be on the board when the Titans start the draft at 29. You know, I'm not going to be talking about Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, you know, Tua Tagovailoa. I'm not going to be talking about those guys because those guys are not going to be there at 29. Not going to be there. Absolutely not. Jordan Love might be there. I highly, highly doubt it. However, I did mention with Jordan Love, you know, he has a cannon of an arm. He has high upside. You know, he's a quarterback that I think you could develop and he could turn into he could be a boom or bust type quarterback. He's a guy that could potentially become a big star and everybody is feeling the love. Or he could be a guy that you lusted over and he disappointed you. That's something that can happen. He's definitely a boom or bust kind of guy. And I mean, a lot of players could be boom or bust. No pick is 100% safe. Joe Burrow could be a bust. Chase Young could be a bust. You never, ever know. The NFL draft is one of the biggest crapshoots there is. Just because you draft a player high does not mean that player is going to be great. We've seen that time and time again. So Jordan Love, I think is definitely going to be gone by round 1. If he is in round 2 and available, if we get an extra pick in round 2, I could slightly see us maybe possibly looking at Jordan Love as a backup option. Maybe. But I would put that at about 3%. That's about it. Okay. So my number 1 real quarterback on my list is Jalen Hurts. I really enjoyed him listening to his press conference. He was on Talking with TD. Y'all should check that out, by the way, on iTunes and Spotify or wherever you get your podcast, because he's been dropping some dimes. And he had Jalen Hurts on his show. And Jalen Hurts, I mean, this young man is very humbled. He's humbled. He's not a guy that gets the big head. He's a guy that's focused. He's always trying to get better and things like that. I like Jalen Hurts. He's elusive. He has a pretty good arm. Still needs to develop in the right system. I think he'd be great for our system as far as keeping plays alive and things like that. He's not a quarterback that's looking to run anymore. He's a guy that maybe extends plays. Kind of reminds me of a poor man's Russell Wilson. He could be a poor man's Russell Wilson. I'm not saying he's going to be as great as Russell Wilson, but I think he has the potential to be something like that with it. So that's something that I would definitely take a look at. Chris Frey, let's see. Chris Frey said, if Love is there, we're getting the trade calls. I agree. If Jordan Love is there at 29, somebody's trying to call and come up. Somebody's going to be trying to call and come up. And, you know, Miami, I believe they have 2 second-round picks. So that, you know, if they don't draft a quarterback in the first round and Jordan Love is there, I would be trying to get both of them second-round picks. Another team, and I know this might be trading far back, is Chicago. Now, Chicago has Nick Foles with Mitch Trubisky. But they may say, you know what, we're going to strip Trubisky out and we bring in another quarterback to back up Foles. That could happen. I doubt it, but I'm just saying it's a possibility. Daryl John, what's up? Hey, you here? That's all that matters. You know, Chris Frey says, AJ Terrell, Gladney, or Denzel Mims. Good question on that. But I like Jalen Hurts a lot. I think he can still develop and become really, really good as a quarterback. Number 2 on my list is Jacob Eason from Washington. He has terrific arm strength. However, not that great in the pocket. He tends to he tends to not have great pocket presence and tends to get a little jittery in the pocket when the rush is coming. Doesn't that remind you of somebody we know? Mm-hmm. I think y'all know who he is. I think he used to wear number 8, who's now wearing the silver and black. Mm-hmm. He could definitely be there in rounds 2 and 3 as a potential quarterback, maybe as a development quarterback or anything like that. I don't know if I'm just really up on Eason like that. I'd rather have Jalen Hurts or even Jake Fromm, who is next on my list. Jake Fromm, I think, again, would be good for this system as a game manager. As a game manager, I think that's what I would do. He has very good IQ, a very good game manager. Again, doesn't have great arm talent, but he had great talent around him. He had a good offensive line in front of him at Georgia with 2 first-round level tackle. Well, 1 first-round level tackle on the left side and a second-round level tackle on the right side, which that's made me mad. I've seen a lot of people draft mocking Isaiah Wilson to us at 29, which I'm like, Isaiah Wilson is not a first-round tackle. He's not ready for that level. Second round, yes. First round, no. And then, of course, Jake Fromm helped, and this is why I think there's another reason why Jake Fromm is good. Jake Fromm helped from a very good running game with DeAndre Swift. Don't the Tennessee Titans have a really good running back that totes the rock back there? I think he wears 22. I think he played for some school down in Tuscaloosa called Alabama. Where's the crown on his head? Y'all recognize him? I think we know who that is. Big Beast. Now, so that's why I think Jake Fromm is number 3 on my list, but I would not mind having him. A couple of other quarterbacks is, again, Steven Montez from Colorado, a developmental quarterback. These 3 quarterbacks are developmental. Steven Montez out of Colorado, James Morgan from Florida International, who has gotten some pop from the Titans and also from the Colts, and Nate Stanley from Iowa, quarterback. I'm not really big on him at all. And there could be an undrafted free agent quarterback possibly out there as well. So those are just some of the quarterbacks that I see that could be potential picks for the Titans in the later rounds. Again, I wouldn't see the Titans taking a quarterback on day 1 or day 2, in my honest opinion. Unless Jalen Hurts is there, we have some extra capital, maybe day 2 for Jalen Hurts, maybe for Jake Fromm, which I think Jake Fromm you can get on day 3, honestly. So that's it for the quarterbacks. Michael Rogers says O-line should be first-round pick. Got to protect the $65 million man. If that's the best player available, a lot of big-time tackles are going to be gone. Guys like Jedrick Willis, Tristan Wirfs, Josh Jones, possibly Mekhi Becton, who I think has the biggest bust potential. Excuse me, in my honest opinion. I think Mekhi Becton has the biggest bust potential in that. I could see as many as 6, maybe even 7 offensive tackles going in this first round. I'm just not in love with any of them to go 29. Ezra Cleveland, I could see if we drop to the first part of the second round. Ezra Cleveland, I kind of like, and I think could develop into a really good tackle. I could see that. Austin Jackson, I could see maybe in the early part of the second round and things like that. But I'm just not that big on tackles in the first round, unless maybe a guy like a Tristan Wirfs drops to us. Maybe I could see it, but I highly, highly doubt it, in my honest opinion. Now, let's get to we're going to get to the running backs in a second. I'm going to read up some other comments. Jameson says the first round pick needs to be a corner. So it makes me shake my head at all these mocks giving the Titans an offensive lineman. Gino P says they won't draft a quarterback until Tannehill is in the 3rd year of his contract. So you have for max years on a rookie deal. True. But I think they're going to have a quarterback because they're going to have somebody to compete with Logan Woodside. I mean, honestly enough, Woodside is in position to be the backup quarterback. But if you get a guy like a Jalen Hurts or a Jake Fromm, they could push him. They could definitely push him. Let's see. Chris Frey says Jake with the 5th pick. I'm thinking you're saying 5th round pick. So I'm thinking that's what you're saying. See, Gino P says, I agree we need picks. We don't have a 4th rounder. That's true. We don't. And that's something that we got to definitely go back on. We definitely got to get some extra collateral. Let's see, Joe said, let the draft fall to you, pick best player. And that's not a bad idea. I mean, of course, you should go best player available. You know, and if the tackle is a best player available, as much as I don't like it, you got to trust your board. Definitely. But let's go into the running backs in this draft. And I think all these running backs could definitely be available. I know out of my top 5, 4 of them are going to be available at least in the 2nd round. The one running back that may not be available is my top running back, DeAndre Swift from Georgia. And this cat is shifty. He's got good vision. He has some decent speed. He's a day one starter, can catch out of the backfield and just has impeccable vision to find the hole and to get through. And then if he gets to the open field, he could definitely take it to the house at any point in time. He didn't run a whole lot of routes, mainly like a lot of screens and like some out routes was what he did. But very reliable in the passing game. Absolutely. So I definitely like DeAndre Swift as the number 1 back on my board. Number 2 is J.K. Dobbins from Ohio State. Now, I did watch him in the game against Clemson. Which he was impressive. Very good out of the backfield and catching the ball. He does have some drop issues, but he has some very good acceleration. Just doesn't have a lot of power behind his runs, but definitely got some acceleration and speed. So I definitely like J.K. Dobbins as a possible pick. There definitely could back up Henry and eventually could take over as a starter in a year or so if they don't re-sign him. Number 3 is a guy that I think I don't know. Is Jonathan Taylor from Wisconsin. And this guy is a runner. He is an excellent runner. Ran for over 2,000 yards last year. And it's not really that big of a receiver out of the backfield. But this guy can tote the rock, holds it up high, and things like that. Does very well with that. Problem is with Jonathan Taylor, he does have a case of fumbleitis. He does have some fumbling issues, and that is something that you do not need. What did Coach Herman Boone in Remember the Titans always said? You fumble the football, I'm going to put my foot right up your John Brown hind parts, and then you will run a mile. You better not drop that football. And that's something that Jonathan Taylor has had a problem with, which is why I'm kind of sour on him. Can't have a guy fumbling football. Not in this offense. Not going to happen. Chris Frey says J.K. Dobbins is the best. Chris Frey says Keyshawn is who we need in the 3rd round. I'm going to get to him. Number 4 is the guy that I personally would love to have if he's there in round 2 or in round 3. CEH, Clyde Edwards-Helaire from LSU. This cat reminds me of a smaller Derrick Henry, but with catchability. This dude is tough. He runs in between the tackles. You know, I think he's a clone. He's a Derrick Henry clone, smaller version of Derrick Henry, but with the catchability. He can catch out of the backfield extremely well. He runs in between the tackles with no problem, runs with some power. He has the top. On top, he could be a smaller Derrick Henry. On the bottom, has some tree trunk legs like Maurice Jones-Drew. I really love Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I love Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and I would love for the Titans to take him. He would definitely be a guy that could take over for Derrick Henry. Number 5 on my list is Keyshawn Vaughn from Vanderbilt. And I really like Keyshawn Vaughn. I think he would fit the Titans perfectly. He's a local kid. He would probably love to stay here and play for his hometown team in the Titans. I mean, he's tough in running in between the tackles. He's a change of pace back, definitely. So he's a guy that could definitely do some damage. And also Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I believe, could also help in the return game. I don't know if Keyshawn Vaughn can help in the return game, but we're definitely going to see about that. But Keyshawn Vaughn could definitely get onto somebody's roster and succeed. Derek Roberts says, "What's up, Blue Enforcer? What's up with you?" Derek John says, "Akers or Vaughn, but we won't pick a running back until 3rd or 4th round." I agree. Which also brings me to my 6th running back. I added one more, and I got to take it home right here in Memphis. A guy that I am excited about, Antonio Gibson, from my alma mater of the University of Memphis. Let me tell you, I have watched a lot of Antonio Gibson football. I've went to a lot of Memphis Tiger games. This dude can ball. Now, I don't know why they have him as a running back. He's played more receiver than running back, which is a good thing. I mean, Memphis used Antonio Gibson more as a gadget guy with running plays. There were some times he did line up in the backfield some, and then they would hand him the ball on those zone reads or jet sweeps or anything like that. But he was mainly a receiver and a very good one. And he has return ability. He's returned punts for touchdowns. I was at the game. Memphis played SMU, that big sold-out game that was at Sea of Blue. I was there. Antonio Gibson put on a show. He put on a show in that game. I mean, did just about everything. Ran for a touchdown, caught a touchdown pass, returned a punt for a touchdown. This dude did it all in that one game. So I love Antonio Gibson. Honestly, I put him up there with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Those are my 2 favorite running backs in this draft, in my honest opinion. They are the 2 best running backs in this draft, hands down. I know DeAndre Swift is going high, but this is just my opinion again. So that's that on that. As some dark horse running backs, one would be Cam Akers from Florida State. Not exactly the greatest with vision, but of course, Florida State just was not that good. But he has potential to be a pretty good 3rd down running back. I don't think he will not be a running back number 1. Absolutely not. Another dark horse, 2 are more closer to Derrick Henry, and that is Zach Moss of Utah and A.J. Dillon of Boston College. Both of these guys are more Derrick Henry-esque running backs. Now, Zach Moss could help you a little bit on the return game, but A.J. Dillon and Zach Moss, both of these guys in their college careers have had well over 700 carries already. Dillon's had over 800. So, the thing about it is that those guys have a lot of tread on their tires already. Now, if they come into this situation, they may not have as much tread to be giving on the tire, which could help them. So, those 2 guys, they remind me more of what Derrick Henry does with the Titans exactly. Chris Fraser says, yes, Edwards is good. Ryan Tannehill says, hoping for Akers or Vaughn. Ryan Tannehill says Vaughn has made it clear he would love to be in Tennessee behind Henry. And J-Rob likes his local guys. He loves his local guys. Mama Boy said we had a video call with Darrington Evans. Highlights look good. I'm not familiar with Darrington Evans, so he might be a dark horse. Gino P says J-Rob is drafting Henry's replacement in this draft, just like he drafted Casey's replacement last year. That's very true. I could definitely see that. Tighten up, load. What's going on? Welcome in. Welcome in. So another and some other running backs, Eno Benjamin from Arizona State is another. And another Memphis running back that I wouldn't mind is Patrick Taylor. Now, you got to remember, Antonio Gibson was used more as a receiver. Patrick Taylor had a very good year last year as a running back. This past season, he was marred by injuries. Was looking good in the first game against Ole Miss, but then had some injuries which kept him out a lot, which led to the emergence of a guy that I think could definitely be a big-time back in the future drafts, Kenneth Gainwell. And y'all better watch out for that name in the future of running backs in maybe next year's draft or in the 2022 draft. Kenneth Gainwell. Watch out for him in 2022's draft. So watch out for that. Definitely. But those are just some running backs that I would look at. Some guys that I think that could fit this team. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Antonio Gibson, Keyshawn Vaughn. I think guys could be great fits with this team. J.K. Dobbins, I think if he's there in the second round, maybe you consider him if he's the best player available and some other big-time weapons on offense or defense are not there. That's why I would look at that. But that's the running backs that I like in this draft. And also, I didn't mention an Anthony McFarland from Maryland. I watched a little bit of his film. Very, very fast running back. Can catch out of the backfield. I think he can help on return game as well. I can't remember, but that's another name to watch out for as well. But now I think to the position group a lot of you are waiting for, the wide receiver group, which is a very, very deep class of wide receivers. It was very difficult for me to drop it to my top 5, but I was able to do it. And Chris Frazier, you're right. Wants a 3-down back who can play on special teams. Absolutely. He's right. You got to be able to contribute on special teams, because if you can't, he ain't going to pick you. So, the wide receivers, one of the deepest groups in this draft, besides corner and right tackle and tackle. Cornerback, wide receiver is slowly becoming one of our bigger needs. We need a burner. A.J. Brown is pretty much our number 1 receiver. Great year last year, 52 catches, over 1,000 yards. I think Adam Humphries was starting to come along late last year when he got back from injury. But if a wide receiver is picked high, like within the first 3 rounds of the draft, you might as well say goodbye to Corey Davis now, because that means Corey Davis is not going to be on the team for the 2020 season, because I think they would trade him, in my honest opinion. So there are a lot of big-time receivers that you can look at. And so let's go into that right now. My number 1 receiver on this list, I had somebody else at number 1, but after watching this guy's highlights, and I watched him against Oklahoma State. Not Oklahoma State. I watched him against Oklahoma, against Texas, and also against Georgia. Denzel Mims is my number 1 wide receiver on this in this draft. And honestly enough, if a corner, like if Jeff Gladney is not there at 29, but Denzel Mims is there at 29, I would take Denzel Mims in a heartbeat. I would not even think twice about it. This is why I say that. Denzel Mims, to me, is a faster, better catching version of Corey Davis, in my honest opinion. A way better version. This is why I say that. Athletic. 4.38 40 speed. So this guy can fly. He's tough. He's good on 50-50 balls. He can high point the catch, high catch radius. Definitely willing to block. Could get a little bit better with his blocking. And is a physical specimen. A physical guy. 6 foot. He's like 6'2", 228. I want to say, if I'm saying that correctly, 6'2", 6'3", I want to say. Very good body size with some very, very good speed. So I definitely like Denzel Mims. Now, some issues with Denzel Mims. He does have a little bit of the dropsies and ball security. He's got to be able to put that ball in tight and everything. He does sometimes have trouble with press coverage and with physical corners. And does need to, continue to get better at running the full route tree. But he's a very, very solid receiver. That could be a 29. And I think he's a guy that not only could be very, very good, but could get even better as the year goes on. So I definitely like Denzel Mims at number 1. Number 2 is Jalen Reagor from TCU. I watched him against Texas and Oklahoma State. You talking about speed. This guy can flat out fly. He could run in the low 4.3s into maybe a 4.29. Now, he did not run very well at the combine, which reports came out he dealt with a torn meniscus, and he worked out with that torn meniscus, which may have hurt his 40 time. He still ran under a 4.5, which is good, but he could be even faster than what he showed at the combine. This is what I like about him. He has elite speed. Could be used all over the place like a Tyreek Hill. You could use them on jet sweeps. You can line them up inside, outside. It doesn't matter. You can line them up on one side or the other side. Has a very good catch radius. Sometimes I think plays a little bit taller than what he is. He's only 5'11". And I know that's a knock on him with his height. But definitely has a good catch radius, and he has some punt return ability. He could definitely be back there as a punt returner, and if he gets into the open field, you might as well get to the sideline and get ready for the kickoff. Now, and before I go to my number 3 receiver, yes, there has been a rumor out that Jerry Jeudy could slip in this draft. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen, but it could, because the word was he was dealing with some knee issues, So that could drop him lower in the first round. Now, I ain't even gonna lie. As much as I like Mims and as much as I like Gladney, if Jerry Jeudy fell past, I'm gonna say 15. If I'm the Titans, I might consider moving up. Steal him away from the Jags or steal him away from Philly. Because Philly's looking at a receiver. He won't get past 21 because Philly's going to want a receiver if they don't trade up already. So that's Jerry Jeudy is a tremendous receiver. I don't think he's going to drop. at all, but it is possible. Excuse me. Let's see. AZ mentioned Jerry Jeudy, Brandon Ayuk. Now, Brandon Ayuk is one of my dark horses, and I'm going to talk about him in just a bit. Chris said, we need a wide receiver that can play the wide receiver too. I agree. Or could somebody be a 1A, 1B with A.J. Brown? We definitely got to see that. Gino P says, with J-Rob, you have to like the name on the front of the jersey more than the one on the back. Parts are always changing, but the winning will be consistent. Man, you dropping some knowledge. That is absolutely freaking right. if you got a good winning culture, the winning doesn't go anywhere, even if the players do. So that is something. I definitely agree. Sometimes Chris comes out and says, they said Judy's knee is fine. I post that. Yeah. And like I said, I don't think he falls that far. You know, it may look like he'll fall a little bit, but probably not with that. Now, Jalen Reagor, some problems is he could be a little bit more crisp on his routes, could definitely work on some run blocking. And he, too, has a little bit of a drop issue. Maybe not as much as Mims or as some of the other guys on the board, but he does have a small drop issue. And it's something he needs to clean up. My number 3 corner on this list is Penn State wide receiver KJ Hamler. And I got to see this guy personally in Dallas for the Cotton Bowl. Man, can this dude run? This dude can run. You notice my theme when it comes to receivers with the first 3. Speed. What have I been saying this whole time leading up to this draft? The Titans need speed, 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 and more speed. I've been saying that for the last 3 months. And these receivers embody that. KJ Hamler does that as well. He's got speed. He's got good hands. He's a kickoff. He could be a kickoff or punt returner. He has excellent burst in space. I mean, get him into the middle of the field, in the open field. That guy's lightning. He's electric. Now, KJ Hamler primarily lined up in the slot. Primarily. There were a few times he lined up outside, but most of the time he was in the slot, like a Justin Jefferson. But he can line up outside. He could also be a better blocker in the run game. Now, a lot of wide receivers are not great run blockers. Now, Corey Davis is a very, very good run blocker, but a lot of wide receivers are not that great at run blocking. But he could do a little bit better with that. But the guy has good speed. He runs good routes, runs very good routes with that. So I was very impressed with KJ Hamler. I watched him against Michigan and against my alma mater of Memphis. My number 4 wide receiver, and you'll be surprised at this, is Michael Pittman Jr. from USC. I watched his tape against Utah, and I watched his tape against BYU, and I came away very, very impressed with him. I mean, I think Michael Pittman has some of the best hands in this draft. What's up, SSJ Tynex? What's going on with you? This dude has great hands. Probably the best hands in the draft. He can high point a ball, and he is a hawk. He goes after it. He goes after balls. He goes attacks the football. He doesn't wait for the football to come down. He goes up to attack the football. That's what he does very well. He has some decent speed, not elite, but some decent speed, knows how to get open, find holes in the zone. And if he sees his quarterback in trouble, he knows how to come back to the football, to come back to his quarterback. That's something that I definitely like about him. Now, some cons. Not a burner. He's okay with yards after the catch, but he's not a burner. He's not a guy that has just that legit elite speed. He has this decent speed, but he doesn't have great speed. Another thing is, and I found this out thanks to PFF Focus, Michael Pittman's going to be 23 years old as a rookie. He's going to be one of the older rookies in this draft class. So, you know, if you keep him for 4 years, he'll be 27 by the time he signs his next contract. And then after that, you know, he'll be possibly into his 30s by the time he gets his 3rd contract. So that, not really for me a knock on him, but that's a knock somebody found with that. Because there's really not a lot of weaknesses to Pittman's game except maybe the elite speed part of it. But other than that, I think Michael Pittman, he catches almost everything. He's only had in his entire college career 5 drops. That's 5 drops in 4 years. Think about that for a second. 5 drops in 4 years. Beautiful. Now, my number 5 wide receiver, and this is kind of by default, honestly, is LaVisca Chenault from Colorado. Has good size at 6'2", 220. Has some very decent hands. He's willing to be physical and block in the run game. He's a guy that he could be very, very hard to track. Whether he's on one side, he comes to the other side. You can run jet sweeps with him. You can run wildcat with him. He can help you in a return game as well. So those are some things that I really, really liked about LaVisca Chenault. Cons, and this is a big one, injury. That is a big red flag because he's the one that had that core muscle injury, and he had that core muscle injury, which he has surgery on and everything with that. He says he's fully healthy now and ready to go, but that injury history does concern me. Not the greatest route runner in the world. He has some acceleration and speed, but he doesn't have elite speed. And he too has trouble with press coverage and does have trouble with the 50-50 balls. So that's why LaVisca Chenault is way down my board. He's the guy that if I had to pick, in the second round, if he's there, I only would pick him is because the value is too good to pass up. But honestly enough, I could see him going in the 3rd round, in my honest opinion. Now, here are some dark horses. Again, Brandon Ayuk, who had a surgery this past week. I mean, not this past week. During I'm trying to think. Yeah, he had surgery very recently, like when the first part of March. So, yeah, I'm not really too big on Brandon Ayuk. Injuries, that is a huge red flag for me. Another guy is Donovan Peoples-Jones from Michigan. He's a guy that has some return ability, maybe doesn't have a lot of huge production at Michigan, but that cat can return some punts. So I definitely I'm feeling Donovan Peoples-Jones there. Also, you got a Chase Claypool from Notre Dame. He could be a wide receiver or a tight end. Devin Duvernay, a burner, a absolute burner. One of TD's favorite guys from Talking with TD, as well as AGG, Anthony. I'm trying to remember the name. Anthony Gardner. Give me a moment. I know I could pull his name up. Yeah, give me just a moment. I'm almost there. But I gotta check that out. Okay, here it is. Antonio Gandy Golden. That's who I was trying to come up with. Antonio Gandy Golden. He's another guy. He's one of TD's favorite receivers in his draft, and he's a guy that he hopes the Titans pick. Another guy that you could definitely watch out for is Van Jefferson, who is the son of former Titans receiver coach Sean Jefferson. And last but not least, another guy that I really do like is James Procise of James Prochet from SMU. Again, I was at the Memphis SMU game. That high shootout game. James Procise is a receiver. Now, he is a receiver. And, that guy, he was torching that Memphis D, without a doubt, with that. So I definitely like all of those guys. Jameson says, if Jefferson, the wide receiver from LSU, somehow is available at 29 or near that, how would you feel about the Titans trying to get him? Now, he lined up primarily in the slot. I don't know how he would be playing outside. He has had he does have issues with press coverage on the outside as opposed to the inside. But I like Justin Jefferson. Because he had a great year. He had a great year, had over 118, he had over 118 catches, 18 touchdowns, and he wasn't even the over 111 catches, over 1,500 yards, 8 touchdowns, and he wasn't even the best receiver on his team. That title goes to Jamar Chase. So those are the receivers that I really like. There are some other receivers I probably forgot to mention. Lipscomb from Vanderbilt. He could sneaky be a guy that the Titans pick. Jawan Jennings being another. Definitely. So those are some of the receivers that I really like. And some of them I had some a little bit of controversial thoughts on them with that. So that's my thought on the wide receivers, and that is my 2020 draft preview. Gotten through all of them. And now, I know I've been talking ahead on for 111 minutes. Thank y'all for sticking with me through all of that. But now I'm going to get to revealing my final Tennessee Titans and Truth mock drafts. I did 2, and I wanted to get comments from each of you, and for anybody that's watching, which one did you like the best? Okay, so give me a moment for to pull up my mock draft. Now, I originally did 2 mock drafts on the Draft Network mock, but I'm going to go with this because I think this draft is a lot better than my other one. So, these are just Titan-centric mock drafts. Okay? So, the first one is with trades. This is with trades first. My first pick was Jalen Johnson. My first pick was Jalen Johnson, cornerback from Utah. And that was because Gladney and Christian Fulton, they were off the board. My second pick at 61, I picked Justin Maabuke from Texas A&M. My third pick at pick 93, Antonio Gibson from Memphis. My fourth pick at 174, which is in the 5th round, Antonio Gandy Golden from Liberty. My 5th pick, which is in the 7th round, is Kendall Vildor from Georgia Southern. My 6th pick is number 237, an edge rusher. Is a good slot corner from Georgia Southern. My 6th pick is Trevon Hill, an edge rusher from Miami, from the U. And then also adds some depth to the offensive line, Calvin Throckmorton from Oregon. So those are my mocks with the draft. And so those, I like those picks better than my other mock. because it kind of like the board just kind of fell my way with that. Now, my second mock draft, I'm trying to see if I can find my other mock draft. Okay. So I'm having some issues finding that draft. Give me just a second. I might actually have it. But I'm going to definitely I got something very good coming up for tomorrow's show. So yeah, I'll definitely be staying tuned for that. And I will be mentioning that in just a bit. So okay. So here is my mock draft with trades. If I can get that to pull up, I'm just okay. Here we go. I'm just waiting on it. Okay, here we go. Now this was done on the PFF mock simulator, and this was with trades. Okay, so I was only able to do one good trade, and what I did at 29, I picked Jeff Gladney from TCU. At 61, Justin Mabuke in the second round. In the third round, I couldn't believe he was still there. Clyde Edwards-Helaire in round 3 was able to trade up. So I traded up, gave up my 5th and one of my 7th round picks and a future 5th round pick to the Chargers to trade up to 151 instead of waiting at 174. Drafted a developmental tackle, Prince Tega Wanago from Auburn. And then with my 7th round picks, I went edge rusher Alton Robinson from Syracuse and Stanford Samuels III, cornerback from Florida State. Those were my mock. That was the mock with trades. And the show is going to start at 6:30 tomorrow. 6:30 tomorrow evening as we get ready for round 1 of the draft. Okay? So that's what we're going to be looking at. And I'm going to get ready to get out of here in a minute. I want y'all to tell me what you think. Which mock draft did you like the best? And I will post these on the TNT Enforcer page. I'm going to post them on all of the all of social media. Which one do you like the best? Do you like my draft without trades? Or do you like my draft with the trade? So let me know what you think about that one. The first one is without trades. The second one is with trades. I see Ryan Tanago says, I like the second one better. That's cool. So I want y'all to give me some comments as we get ready to leave this show and everything. So I'm probably going to save this blue bombshell for tomorrow for the draft for the show for the preview before the first pick comes out. So tomorrow at 6:30, I'm going to reveal. I'm not going to reveal it tonight. Tomorrow at 6:30, I'm going to kick it off with revealing my one and only first round mock draft that I did myself. I will unveil that to kick off the draft show tomorrow before the first pick goes live. I will unveil my mock draft, my one and only. And I'm going to ask the question, do you have draft day traditions? Everybody loves the NFL draft. It's become a spectacle of an event. So that's for tomorrow's show. What are your draft day traditions, if there are any? Okay? So, with that being said, I'm finna get ready to get on out of here. I know I talked your head off for an hour and 20 minutes. Thank y'all for sticking with me on Titans and Truth. I'm finna get ready to go eat me some dinner and everything because I was supposed to have cooked, but my wife did it for me. So I appreciate her doing that. And I will see y'all. And I see Ryan Tannegold says, I skipped school every draft day, but I guess I don't have any school to skip this year. We're definitely going to see about that. So, again, I will see y'all tomorrow night live on YouTube, 6:30. Be in for a surprise and be in for that unveiling of the mock draft. And as we should do, not that no one will survive, but the fact that we will bask in Titan glory. See y'all tomorrow for the draft show.
He is limitless. For he is limitless.
Bask in the Titans glory, y'all. Tomorrow night, 6:30. Spread the word. Draft party. I was sharing it on Facebook. See y'all tomorrow. Titans the truth. Tighten up.